So my background in the space started really with the launch of GlowPoint, a cloud-based service in the video space. I was also an EVP at IMCCA, one of the largest integrators, and built a number of cloud services, cloud applications as part of them. And I currently am the CEO of a company called Department 60, we just launched another cloud service for digital signage. So a lot of experience in that space. And what we've been seeing in the cloud space is some confusion and a lot of interest in what's going on. So what we're going to do here is go through a little bit of a presentation, talk about it, get some topics. I have some questions, but hopefully you all have some questions as well. And we'll have the panel introduce themselves as soon as I'm done with the presentation. So defining what collaboration service is, it needs to understand where we've been. So CPE or customer premise equipment really means you're buying the equipment, it's on site at your location. It's really what we've been doing for the last 15, 20 years, especially in the video space. You buy infrastructure, you buy equipment, you put it on site, and you support it. Managed service is a step beyond that, but it's still, you're owning the equipment for the most part, and you have someone managing it for you, whether it's a third party or a group within your organization. And so that's a managed service offering, which is not a cloud offering. They're still managing your services. And then there's cloud, which is, you don't own any equipment, you don't own any software. You're plugging into a service. Now, there are some variations of cloud as well, and we'll go into that. But that's really what we're focusing on today, is that cloud service where you don't own the equipment. Why are we talking about it? Because of this. This is incredible what's happening in the marketplace as far as the growth in business related to cloud services. Whether it's software as a service or platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, it's all about the cloud. And we're finding that many customers are really focused on figuring out how to leverage this. And we're even seeing organizations that traditionally were against cloud moving into the space. So this is interesting. This is from a Wayne House research report, and it shows what's been important to folks. And if you look at reliability, performance, and price, that's pretty obvious, I think we would say. But what was surprising to me was video quality was down on the list, reputation was down on the list, and more importantly, brand was down on the list. And I think that's the biggest change that we have to deal with in the marketplace as vendors and as customers, is the traditional brands that we were used to don't really hold as much weight as they did before. Because it's easier to try cloud services, because the consumerization of IT is allowing applications from small startup companies to infiltrate your companies, maybe with IT not even knowing it, with millennials trying new solutions in when they don't like it, and they stop using it and try another one. So brand loyalty is really something that I think is no longer relevant. And if you look up reputation and features, that was an interesting one as well. It's really more about what is important to the customer. And I think we as vendors and manufacturers tend to lose that sometimes. We create cool features, cool widgets, cool things to check off boxes, but the customers really don't care about a lot of those features. They care about the core functionality, I think. As we said, performance, reliability, and price are the top issues. So there's some challenges facing all of us when it comes to this. Security is a big concern everywhere. I had just done a consulting project with a major global player, and they have customers in Germany who refused to use the service if the servers weren't in Germany, if the data didn't stay in Germany, if the support services didn't stay in Germany. Wow, that creates a problem if you're creating a cloud service, right? You really need to think about that. So creating services and addressing security and localization are really key. The other thing is regulatory fees and taxes. I think this is a gotcha for a lot of folks. Maybe not on the customer side, although eventually it hits them. But service providers need to understand that there are rules and regulations to telecommunications. And whenever you tie audio or video to any kind of UC platform, there's regulatory fees that you might need to address. That'll get passed down to the customers. So when you look at the price may not be the price. So that's definitely a factor that affects our thinking of the cloud. But even with all that, look at the amount of people that are interested in cloud. And there's a couple of topics, and I'll go into that, I think, on the next slide. Public cloud, about 30% of the people surveyed are thinking about going into it. 58% public and private, and then 5% private. Well, what do we mean by that? Public cloud is you're sharing the resources with everybody else, right? You're plugging in. Salesforce.com is a great example of that. You're out there, you're on shared servers with other customers. Obviously, your data isn't intermingling, but you're using the same platforms, and so you're sharing a public environment. Public and private cloud hybrid is something that we're seeing a lot more, especially with larger enterprises, where they do want the public piece maybe for remote users and people connecting to meetings with them, but they also want that private cloud, and that means that they're willing to have their own instance. Whether it may still be in a co-location facility, but they're not commingling at all, and they have their instance on a separate set of servers. And then private cloud is pretty much way back to the way it used to be, only it may be in a co-location facility, and that's where the customer actually owns the software, owns the hardware, but we've set up a private environment where only they can get to. Some considerations as a customer selecting officer. How easy is it to cancel or change? Is that me?
No, it's me, sorry.
How easy is it to cancel or change to another service provider? We were in a discussion earlier today at the lunch. I don't know if anybody was there. There was a conversation about, some of the cloud providers are saying, well, it's so easy, you just stop using us and you use someone else. And it's really not that easy, depending on the size of the company it is, right? You have training, you do have to transition. You may have storage. I know a situation, if you're in Slack or if you're in Circuit or others, you've been uploading content. Now how do you get that off? How do you sync that with what you had? So how easy it is to get on and off the service provider is really important. What happens to my data when I leave the service? Do I lose it? Is there any way I can transition that off? That's a big question. A lot of people don't think about that. What happens if my service provider fails? I did a report for a customer recently, and at that time, there were 120 service providers providing some form of video or UC cloud service. They're popping up all over the place. And my guess is that some of them are going to fail or merge. What happens if that happens? Again, I talked about security as it relates to the infrastructure, but a lot of customers still want single sign-on. They want to know how you can deal with mobile users. How long is the token going to last in a mobile device if they're logging in? And these are all things that you need to consider. And can your service provider or cloud provider handle it? What's happening with the data? In transit and stored. A lot of people forget about in-transit data transmission. Encryption's okay, but man-in-the-middle attacks are definitely something that can impact what you're doing. More than even, I thought before with video and audio, but there's man-in-the-middle issues that are potentially there. So how do you handle that in a cloud environment are things that you should think about. Additional considerations are things like scalability. With AWS and Azure, there's almost an infinite amount of ways you can scale the infrastructure. That doesn't mean that the application itself is scalable. Have they stress tested it? Have they really done their homework about how this application is going to scale? The support. Someone mentioned, I think John Antonitis mentioned earlier today, how critical the support of these services are. It's great to have the flexibility and innovation of a small company, but if you call and there's no one there, or you can't get a good response, how good is that? How can they scale? Features that are important to your organization, we showed in that chart. Features were less important, but there are certain ones that I'm sure are important to your organization. Maybe not what we think are, and we have the checklist. So make sure that you speak up and talk about features that are important to you. Again, the bells and whistles that are important to one organization may be non-starters for you. Talked about ease of migration off of an existing service, but what about what you're on? Right? How hard is it going to be to get from where you are today to move to a cloud service? What's the culture of your organization like? Can it support that? It's hard. Change is hard. and people don't really want to go through it. And so you have to understand what that easy migration is, how easy it is for customers to be trained, and as I mentioned, the support. But the other thing is, and this is a valid point, it doesn't necessarily have to be a long-term decision. There's pain in change, understood, I just said that, there's pain in transitioning off. But you're no longer investing in millions of dollars of equipment, right? So there is a shorter period of ROI, if you will, on that time spent where you can transition off and not have your accountants looking at you because you have equipment that still hasn't been depreciated. So cloud does offer the benefit of not necessarily having to make a long-term decision when you go down this path. So those are the topics that kind of sets the tone for what we're going to talk about today. And we have a distinguished panel with us to go through this and have some questions. And as I said, I will ask some questions, but we'll ask you for input as well. So, Carl, why don't you start and please go down the path. Oh, we're missing you guys?
I'm apparently not here.
I sent an update. Sorry you didn't get there, but Polycom is here.
I feel like I'm here.
We didn't know it is. We weren't sure if the name was going to change. No, sorry. I actually have it on the latest version, and I didn't get here. Sorry. But Carl,
I just made more noise than introduce yourself. So I'm Michael Friend. I'm with Polycom. I run engineering at Polycom. That company Polycom. Stuff like that.
And I'll go second. So my name is Carl Henko, and I lead the Americas team for Videxio. And for those that don't know Videxio, we are a video conferencing cloud service that is sold exclusively through a partner community who own their customer relationships. They brand our service offering, and they solve a couple of business problems, like being able to put great endpoints, like Polycom endpoints, onto a service without ownership of infrastructure, and being able to provide conferencing services to those customers for anytime, anywhere video communication.
I'll go next. I'm Cynthia Lee. I'm a product manager at Cisco, and Cisco has a full range of collaboration services, including on-premise to cloud, from endpoints to infrastructure. I work on the Spark component, which is a new cloud collaboration service that Cisco announced recently, and it includes messaging, conferencing, and cloud calling all in one offer.
I'm Janelle Rainey. I do product marketing for Zoom. And Zoom is also a video cloud provider. We look at video, web, and audio. Somehow I always have audio.
Janelle, you doing that again?
I don't know what's going on. Something I'm going to have. So Zoom really looks at it across the desktop, the mobile, and the conference room. So we have the online meetings, we have IM presence, we have webinars that scale to 10,000 users. And then in the conference room, we do the interoperability with the Polycom and Cisco, and the H323 or SIP system. And then we also have a Zoom room solution that works with off-the-shelf hardware like Logitech or Ravelab.
Hi, and I'm Bob Wise. I'm president of freeconferencecall.com. We are a cloud conferencing and collaboration provider. You probably don't realize this, but we are the third largest conferencing call company in the United States and fifth largest in the world. We do that many minutes. And traditionally, the company, you can go on our website right now, sign up, no credit card, nothing, get an account, and you can do up to 1,000 video conferencing, screen sharing, and audio conferencing for free. And that's how we've been getting our business of late. We do business in over 800,000 businesses, but now we are going down to the mid-market enterprise and working with them and have a managed service offering that gives them the same conferencing collaboration solutions that we do, but we give them a billing and account and analytics reporting and then sort of an upgraded managed services package so they can run their business and understand who their conferencing users are today.
Thanks. Thanks, guys. So the first question I have, and I'll give this to Michael first, because I screwed up and don't have his logo up there, is I mentioned that brand is no longer relevant. And do you see that happening with your customers? And what is Polycom doing to try and keep the brand relevant?
So I'll say a couple things. First, the three things that were most important to people from a cloud perspective were reliability, ease of use, and performance. To the extent that brand is important is the companies that deliver those three things. we're very early on. So there's 140 companies or something delivering this type of capability. The brands that are associated with those three things, or that do those three things the best, will become important brands. To say that brand is important is I think at this point in time, people are going to figure out who are the important brands, and brand is always important. It's certainly important from our perspective, right? And I think that we win customers to pay attention to us because of the brand, because of the things we've done over the last 25 years, and continue to do from a innovation perspective. They expect those things from a brand. So I think we have to be a little bit careful when we say, well, brand's not important. It is. I think when you look at the top three reasons people pick, those three reasons, they are the top three reasons people pick. But as a brand becomes associated, like I said, with those things, it will become a brand, and that's what happens in pretty much every industry.
Cynthia, I mean, obviously you have a big brand, but is that going to carry through in the UCC cloud space?
I think that part of it does, but like Michael mentioned, focusing on those top three items, like at least in Cisco, we have a huge focus on the user experience, on making things really simple to use, on being a very reliable service and having very good performance, and continuing on that. Cisco has always had branding of being a very a solution that is very reliable, high performance, and we continue on that as we come into the cloud space and putting even more focus these days on the user experience, making sure that everything that we build is very simple to use and it works every time.
So maybe some of the other players would like to focus. I know you're big in minutes, but not necessarily in brand as some of the other.
No, right. I mean, we fight that all day on unseating as many brands as we can. But and so I do think brand is relevant. I think it's important. I think customers are less loyal to the brand if they're not getting what they want, if they're not getting the support, if they're not getting the reliability, if they're not getting the price that they want. That's one that comes up all the time. We hear it from in all different areas of the UC space that I know I should be paying less, and I'm willing to listen. And that's a big door opener for us. And as long as we can show that we can meet that reliability and service test, I think the customers are much more willing to move.
Yeah, I'm in marketing, but I absolutely agree. I don't think brand is really all that relevant. I think if your customer owns, our customers own our brand. They are our representatives of do they like it or not. So for us, it's really about delivering great experiences, and that gets to reliability and ease of use they have, and the price. Is it affordable or not? I was in an earlier session, so if it's a repeat story, I apologize, but GoDaddy had 42 different web conferencing and video conferencing solutions being used in their company. So IT looked at it with their set of requirements, narrowed it down to 3 that fit the requirements that they had, and let the end users vote. So they got to all use it for a month, and at the end, 99 of them out of 100 chose Zoom. So I really think it is, the product sells itself if it's a good service.
To round it up, we probably have a different perspective than Videxio on brand, and I wouldn't argue with the Wayne House survey, but that's probably more oriented towards an end user perspective. Our go-to-market is through partners, and these are partners that have made a successful living on delivering value-added services and products, selling Cisco with Polycom and others, and understand that UC space. And so their branding allows them to take to market a service offering that makes sense to how they build around managed service offerings and other components of their value proposition. And that buys more ownership, that buys more effort on behalf of those partners to take forward those services. So we are all about helping our partners to brand their offering and deliver it in their way.
Great, thank you.
I echo that.
Great. Okay, the next thing is security is top of mind. What are some security measures that you guys are implementing to answer some of these concerns for customers? And again, focus on cloud, from a cloud perspective, how you're addressing their concerns. Oh, why don't we start with you?
Sure. So it is probably been more so for the enterprise customers, a top of mind conversation. We filled out more questionnaires on security than shake a stick at. From our standpoint, it starts at the infrastructure level. So as we architect the cloud, it's about making sure that we've got the right kind of data centers that are SOC compliant, that we sort of thought that through. All of our data centers are tied together with MPLS networks, so we've thought through the sort of component that brings together our core architecture. There's localization that you saw there, so we're sensitive to in-country requirements. In Canada, we just announced we put a POP in there. We put a POP in Canada not just because we're altruistic and pro-Canada, I'm Canadian, but also because there are certain requirements in Canada to maintain that media traffic in Canada to participate in certain markets. So we're sensitive to that. And then at the user level, we're again sensitive to their privacy and security. So enabling the user to be able to have host pins and have guest pins, to lock conferences, and be able to manage their personal experience in a way that's secure is sort of all the different levels of security we take into consideration.
Anyone else want to comment on security?
I'll make a couple comments. One is that it's not a one-size-fits-all world when it comes to security. And you said there were sort of three models: CPE model, managed model, and hosted model. There are actually models in between that have to do with delivering a certain consumption model, but maybe doing it in a different way. So we have customers, for example, that absolutely like the hosted model from a consumption perspective, the pay-as-you-go aspect of it. I don't buy any equipment. I just go on the web, I sign up and use it and pay as I go. But they don't want their video traffic or the content or anything to actually leave their network. And so there are places where, from a security perspective, the way to solve it is to deliver a consumption model, but deliver it in an on-premise way, and many hybrids in between. So I think there's a couple aspects here. You have to understand that not all customers are created equal when it comes to security either. And then, of course, there's all the basic things that we talk about. Building the right encryption, the right authentication capabilities, the right certificates, and everything else that you need on your endpoints and everywhere else that you can deliver on that. And of course, keeping an eye on what's going on, because what seems secure today is not very tomorrow. So it's the cat and mouse game will continue. In addition to different models, we have to be ever vigilant.
I'm assuming that the big players, I know Cisco does, I'm sure, have security experts on staff, and I'll give you a chance to talk to some people. Do you guys have security experts on staff?
We do.
Outside consultants.
Outside, yeah. I mean, it's coming to the point, and I think integrators, I have a session tomorrow on security. You have to have some access to resources that understand security. Cynthia, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, we actually just released a white paper on Cisco Spark security and privacy. It highlights how we're taking security to the next level at Cisco Spark. And kind of Carl mentioned some of the end-to-end encryption, everything in transit and stored on our data centers. We never had access to that. That's all encrypted. And we also, there's a lot of these cloud platforms, when we look at these cloud platforms, we want them to be extensible. So we have APIs and developers that have access to the platform. And while at the Spark core, we never have access to any of your content, we understand that some of your developers might want access to that. So we have a way for them to get access only when specifically permitted by the customer or the user. Obviously, other things like the administrators being able to have different levels of access. We look at security and privacy at a lot of different levels, even from an entity perspective. Any kind of personally identifiable information will not be stored in our data center unencrypted, and we have obfuscated all of the personal information as well. So we really take that very seriously, and we're always kind of looking at how we can make security even better.
Anyone else have a comment on security?
Yeah, go ahead.
That's good, I'm like, yeah, I would echo everything they say. It really talks about, architecture is really important, looking at your encryption, everything they have at the base, but I think also looking at that end user experience. Can you lock the meeting? Can you put in certain passwords? Can you expel somebody or put them on hold and let them come back in? Zoom also has a feature where, if you're doing a screen share, it's really easy for somebody to Control-Shift-4 on that Mac, and they're able to grab the screen. We'll actually watermark that, and it'll say, Janelle Rainey did a screen capture of this. And so if there's always a trail that says where that capture came from. So it's really important to understand the security and understand at what level it is, because whether you're looking for HIPAA compliance or your finance, you may want that hybrid solution as well, and we offer that as well.
All the things you guys talked about, yeah, we obviously do as well, and part of our platform, we have outside security from as well. But one other area that we take it is on our network. I mean, we are a CLEC, and we monitor the network. I mean, and every network, every audio network has quality issues for various reasons. Some of them are security related. There's anti-spoofing. There's, fraudulent calling. All that can make a conference call really almost unlistenable. So we are constantly monitoring. We have a whole team that monitors that, and we just take quality from an audio and collaboration perspective just to the nth degree. So very important.
So from a security perspective, we have to deal with a number of different situations. Are there certain verticals then that you see really applies better to than others? Are you finding challenges with acceptance and you see in some verticals versus others? Anybody?
I'm seeing cloud collaboration being accepted pretty widely across verticals, not specific to specific verticals. Some growing companies will adapt it a lot faster, but even we're getting kind of financial firms and government kind of getting interested in cloud as well. Some of them will use the hybrid for some of their stuff and have the cloud kind of be able to combine the best of both worlds. So I don't really see it in a specific vertical.
I agree.
So we absolutely see it in verticals. I mean, the Department of Defense, security, NATO, we have customers who are very, very specific about the security that they want. They will absolutely never go to a cloud. They're very clear about that. They don't trust going to a cloud no matter how good security is. We have customers who won't use an MCU. Okay, they will not use a bridge. The call has to be from point to point. With any multi-point, it has to be built into the endpoint. When the call ends, the endpoint has to basically clear itself completely. All the memory has to be wiped. There are absolutely places where verticals where security is that important. So, is it the majority of the market? Probably not. Right? It's a percentage. I would tell you it's probably less than 5% if you look at the market worldwide. But there are places where we develop specific capabilities because they are that paranoid.
Anybody see challenges with specific verticals?
I mean, I agree. There's areas, but for the most part, I mean, I think cloud is very widely adopted, and we're less focused on some of those specific verticals other than those 5% that you're talking about.
I think especially as security is becoming better and better in the cloud, you'll see some of that shift. Like 5 years ago, maybe it was 20% of that wouldn't accept, and now it's maybe 5%. So we're starting to see the needle move a little.
Are we seeing fast decision making? A couple of years ago, here at InfoComm, we talked about fusion and marketplace. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of mergers, there still are. There's a lot of technology changes. People were worried, should I go virtual, should I go hardware? And so customers seem confused, at least the ones we talked to. It seems like there's a little more clarity out there, there's a little more comfort with the cloud. So has that created a situation where customers are making faster decisions and the solutions out there are meeting the requirements?
If there's a pain point, 100%. Yes. I mean, I think overall, yes, the sales cycles are shorter, but if there's a pain point, they can get pretty shorter than I've ever seen them before.
Yeah, I agree. I think, especially with the cloud, it's so easy to just bring it in and test it overnight. Even in a conference room, you can bring in, a Logitech, a Rego Lab, you can buy that off by Amazon, you can have it there the next day, you're up and running testing a Zoom room, which trying to do that with a traditional conferencing system where you're shipping boxes and getting that all set up, it's the speed of being able to test that and even roll it out to a department to maybe do a department test or proof of concept.
So does that mean that are we sidestepping the IT organizations? Are they no longer as prevalent as they were in the hardware sales in cloud?
No, they're absolutely still prevalent. We see them both as a gatekeeper, as far as looking at that security and making sure that it's meeting the requirements, but also very much as a partner to us, as a vendor, of bringing requirements to us, seeing what they really need as an end user. They're a really important part of the sales cycle.
Yeah, I agree with that. The IT can really, with the cloud collaboration, they can kind of strategically look at what solutions will work for the people and the business processes in the organization and help the organization pick the services that will really make their company be more effective.
So I'm going to disagree again. It's not black and white. It's not like IT departments are involved. The nice thing, and I do think a huge benefit of cloud-based services, is that a business group can go out and sign up and try it out, do it very easily and very quickly, and get their business group outside of involving IT. Remember, iPhones did not get into businesses because of IT. Right? They got into businesses because business users started using them. And that's also true for a lot of video. And it's also true that when you get past down below the 1,500, 2,000 person company, you often have IT departments that have 1 or 2 people in it. We're never, ever going to have the expertise to run their own infrastructure and their own capability. And for that group of people, the cloud, the ease of use, the ease of connectivity, I'm supporting what they're saying. I'm just saying it's not universal. But it's opened up the door to smaller and medium-sized businesses actually being able to take advantage of this technology where they couldn't before. And in some cases, their IT department may be involved. In some cases, they may not have much of an IT department.
I think it also depends, Michael, who's the sale to. I mean, if it is an overall company-wide solution, more than likely IT is going to be very involved. But if it is more departmental, can be less so. So
you get 42 suppliers of video in your company. It's not IT that made that.
They're trying to rein it in.
And you know what? It's because the demand got there. It's because the different business units said, this is a useful tool. This is something that makes me more productive. And that happened because those individuals were able to do that. And by the way, I think that's good news for all of us.
Well, actually, it really is that consumerization of IT. I think it's also interesting to look at how IT's role has really been evolving and working with the AV and with facilities and looking more at how can their company collaborate and work better together. I think that role is really evolving quite a bit.
So this one's going to be a little controversial potentially. And I worked 5 years as executive at AVI-SPL, one of the largest AV integrators. But it seems like cloud could potentially disenfranchise the integrators. You have these big customers, there's some in this room that I know, who might say, well, what value does the integrator bring when the cloud is being hosted by you, the cloud is being supported, how do you keep the channel whole? I know Carl has an answer to that, but how do you guys think we keep the channel whole in this as we move more towards cloud? Carl, why don't you start? Because I know you have...
So I have an opinion on that, and I would say that community is, so we talked about localization in your opening slide, right? So our partners provide, they've got deep relationships with their customer base. They speak the language that goes with those countries that they do business in. They're in those time zones. They bring a value add that we as a manufacturer, as a service provider, couldn't extend without having a massive organization. That they bring other value add services, the sale of Cisco and Polycom endpoints, which our service complements, the ability to enable those organizations and provide other services, whether that's as simple as hanging monitors on the wall and providing a nice Logitech camera or whatever those are. There's other value add that our partners bring to that experience. So it's, there are certainly some partners that could be just selling a service and that's it, that's all. But I think, there's a value add that our partners, the ones that see the value of an Exio service, bring to the table that they bring to that market.
I would think, I think what you see is an evolution of what integrators do. It's no different than what happened, in the IP telephony space, where something that used to have a different set of companies that actually delivered the capabilities actually evolved. Right? Companies evolved to take in this new thing that became part of the IT infrastructure and not part of the telecom infrastructure. The evolution of the integrators is no different than the evolution of technology itself. There is a path, and anyone who doesn't, in our business, if you stop changing, you potentially die, right? That's just the reality of our business. It's why you can do this for 30 years and still get excited in the morning to get up, because it's going to be something different. And I do think, and you'll see, the integrators will go through, some will disappear, right? Some will evolve into new, some will grow and be bigger because they're taking on new technology and gotten new set of capabilities and services. And that's just the reality of our business. So, will some of the integrators disappear? Sure, right? Will some of them get bigger and do more? Absolutely, right? Will there be new types of integrators, just like there's new types of service providers? Absolutely, right? That's the business we're in.
Well, I
think this is not the only channel to market either, right? So the AV-IT community, they've got a place in this market, but they're not the only route to market. There's other partners out there that are providing web and audio conferencing that we can complement. There's others out there that are just providing conferencing and collaboration services that we complement. So it's a bigger field to play than just the AV-IT space. This is, I think, a great opportunity for the AV-IT market to be able to have a more sticky type relationship to understanding their customers' business and being part of that ongoing service development.
Anyone else have comments on that?
I mean, I think the partner, for us, the partner is still very, very important. I think, and Mike, in what you said, that the partner becomes maybe less important for that customer if the customer is really down to one vendor, maybe two. And then maybe the consultation, all that from that partner is less important. But still today, there's multiple providers in those customers, and they rely on how those products are who's gonna use them, how they're gonna work together, and what's the end goal. And so we rely a lot on those partners to make sure that we want to be a piece of that puzzle.
Actually, you started the channel program, right, at Zoom?
We do have a channel program. We definitely see them as resellers, as a partner. We don't do the hardware. We're a software company, so that's really important when you're looking at rolling out 700 huddle rooms or setting up your really important boardroom. How are you going to go about doing that? They're a very important piece of that.
So there is a role. And as I said before, the support side is something that they could augment as well. Does anybody have a question? I have more, but okay. We get some audience questions. You just say your name and...
Kevin from BizCon. My question is, when you host collaboration software or UCaas as a service software onto a cloud, do you ever consider hosting them on more than one cloud? And if so, why? And what's the strategy of doing that? Let's say specifically for Zoom and Cisco, when you say you put your service on the cloud, is it on one public cloud, or sometimes there's hybrid cloud or private cloud? Do you ever consider doing it on multiple clouds? Because in the streaming business, in video content streaming business, it's very common to own multiple infrastructure, to rent multiple infrastructure, CDN for example. But in this hosting services case, do you ever consider doing that multiple cloud? And if so, why?
Yeah, so Zoom is run on a private cloud. We have our own data centers, and everywhere from India to China, the U.S., everywhere. And part of why that is when we have all the control of it. So we can scale very easily. We have the redundancy in place for that. We do have customers who have a hybrid solution. So we don't hold any of the session data at all. All we hold is when the meeting is. And everything else is held on all of that goes on their own bandwidth for that client.
We're seeing a lot of, on the Cisco side, customers that are interested in hybrid solutions. Cisco has a big on-premise deployment out there already. So, like a lot of people that come in, they already have the on-premise deployment, but they're interested in all the cool new stuff that we're doing in the cloud. So we have a lot of people that are interested in doing that hybrid solution. So a big reason to do that would be just they're maximizing their investment, and if they want to move to the cloud, they can get kind of best of both worlds and then evaluate if they want to move some of their on-prem existing deployments up to the cloud as well. We're also seeing because the platform can be very extensible, there's still some possibly other cloud services that you might want to bring in, and you can bring that in through developer integrations. And if there's a specific service that you need, like for example, a specific recording service that you wanted to integrate into Cisco Spark services, we can do that through the APIs, and that's one of the reasons why some people might choose to have two different clouds, or have on-prem or a cloud combined together.
A quick follow-on for Zoom, why do you not consider hosting on a public cloud?
I'm sorry, why do we?
Why are you not hosting the service on public cloud completely? You're hosting on private cloud, you said.
Well, we use AWS as well. But it's our own servers.
So did you mean like on AWS and Azure
Right.
as example? So I think that's what he's talking about. Why?
But we do use AWS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you use two or just one?
You know what, I'm in product marketing, so I suggest you come by our booth. If you want to get really technical with that, there are sales engineers who can help. I don't want to misquote.
You have a question? Sure.
Hi, I'm Guillermo from Mozilla. So I actually had a couple of questions, but I'll ask a really simple yes or no question, and then a follow-up question more along that kind of transition. So the very simple question is, back to security, does your company have a bug bounty system for independent pen testers capturing security holes? And then on the kind of transition from a on-prem system into the cloud, what do you see as the kind of hand-holding interoperability with an existing system as you make that transition? Because unfortunately, there's only so many staff on my team that can handle, lifting all of our endpoints and shifting to something new. It's not overnight, no matter how many salespeople tell me that you can turn on cloud tomorrow.
Yeah, so at Zoom, we don't say throw out your old stuff. We do the interoperability with that, so we simply don't have to make that shift right away. So the first question of the security and the infrastructure, I think Zoom, it's a newer player, but I think it's important to understand our CEO and founder is Eric Young, who founded WebEx. He was VP of engineering and was VP of engineering and for collaboration at Cisco before he left in 2011. And it was really his vision to combine web, video, and audio all into one cloud service. So we have, when he left Cisco, he took 35 of his favorite engineers. They spent 2 years building the system. Our engineers have over 900 years of cloud collaboration experience. It's probably more than anybody else in the industry. So believe me, they have figured out all of the security and everything that you would need on that architecture. And it's extremely reliable. And that's what customers really love about it, is the security, the reliability, and the quality that people have with that.
So do you have a bug bounty program, or?
Again, I'm going to send you our booth to answer that type of question. I'm sure we do, but I'm not the one to ask for that.
So we do. Look, I mean, the more people who can come out your system and find out issues with it, let you know. And security, I mean, I ran a high-end security business for Juniper at one point. I've done a lot of those while I was one of them. And there's a strong community out there of people who want to break your stuff, but who want to tell you about it. And I think it's a really valuable community, and having a bug bounty is actually a great way to find one. So yes, we do. And your question about transitioning.
Training.
In terms of transitioning, I think that we have a very strong focus with our products on interoperability across the board, whether it's Cisco endpoints, soft endpoints, or anything sort of standards-based, but even working in areas that aren't standards-based, including having a nice, clean interface into Office 365 and that space. And so you can get, you don't have to flash cut. You don't have to flash cut. And I do think that over time, the majority of the industry, especially as this grows, smaller and medium-sized businesses are going to be more likely cloud-based than anything else. Right? If I've given that different impression, I don't mean to. I just there's exceptions, right? The interoperability of that. I mean, communication is only useful to pervasive, and not everyone's going to convert to any one standard that's going to be seen as being valid. There's also new technology, so having that ability to interoperate is pretty important. And there are services out there that can help you do it, and technology and new products you deliver that can help you do it. There are ways to make the transition there on flash cut.
Any other questions?
Hi, I'm David. I'm with that one large integrator. So I wanted to ask something that you were getting to around. I'm curious if any other companies as well. When you mentioned the cloud giving the ability to extend services, that's an obvious sort of advantage to go to the cloud. You mentioned the recording as one. The APIs giving that ability. What other ones could you maybe share with us that are you see people looking to exposes those more API type applications, the interoperability at application level, not just at technology communication level. Instant messaging being another kind of example, scheduling being another example. Those are all things that we're already doing today. But what's next? What else are things we're working on? Sharing lists or other eyeball requests that you get that feel really good?
One of the pretty cool integrations that was done was actually with a hospital that they had our Spark services integrated with their kind of hospital system. So as you're walking around the building, and if you send, say, a page from a certain room, then it gets sent out to your Spark rooms. It gets notifies all the people within there, and they'll know like where your location is. And that kind of helps in terms of when you're operating your hospital, some of the emergency services that you'll need. And so that's one of the cool integrations. We've seen some other integrations with, say, project management systems or like Evernote, for example, as well as Trello, I think. So if you create something in the project management, it'll send you a Spark message, and so you can see that, and you can reply to that to post new stuff, and so you can use both services, or you can choose to kind of stay on the Spark service but still be working with all these other people with the Trello functionality. So those are just a couple of the examples.
I think we're doing, I think that's a very important aspect. There's other applications, other customer business process enablement, and different things that they're living every day, and having part of the ability to execute a conference call or collaboration session right within those solutions. That's a big part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's looking at that whole workflow. Where can you just make it easy to start a meeting? So we have integrations with Salesforce, with Marketo. Slack is a very popular one. They use it internally as well. All you have to do is put Slack Zoom and you can start a meeting, or put in the PIN number and you can join a meeting. Different education providers are using it for LTI systems like Blackboard, Canvas. So you're saying it just that pervasiveness of really making it relevant within the workflow.
I would build on that. I think there's both. There's a couple aspects of this. I completely agree with the previous things around APIs and integrating with other applications that are out there, whether it's Epic or in the healthcare space or Salesforce.com, things like that. I think that's one dimension of it. It's how you integrate the workflow, how you create set of APIs that allows your communication system to become a seamless part of that. I think everyone is doing that to some degree. But I also think there's an ecosystem out there of other things that are becoming more interesting, right? Whether it's Slack, which is a great example, natural language processing, Dropbox, all of the other things that become your personal workspace that you want to bring into the collaborative session. The ability to walk into a room that can be voice, video, and content's becoming increasingly important. Be able to swipe your way into the room, authenticate who you are, go into the cloud and get your content from OneDrive or Dropbox, pick yours, whatever your particular favorite place is to put your stuff, right? And bring that into the meeting, or deal with it, annotate it, change it, put it right back there. There's a whole set, and we don't even know, which is so much at the beginning of all that, in terms of people defining their personal workspace. We really have to pay close attention to what's happening in an ecosystem. How do we, and there's a lot of standards-based ways to pick this up, and authentication mechanisms, encryption mechanisms that come to play in this. I really think that in many ways, people think, well, personal workspace is your desk or it's a hotel room, it's a place where you're working. But it's also all of those things in that ecosystem, beyond the cloud stuff we're talking about today, that are cloud-based things that you want, that are part of things that are the tools that you need to bring in. And I think this is one of those areas where there's going to be a huge opportunity. And it's some daunting challenges, but I think there's things that really change the way we work.
I also just add in, I also think that that's where the differentiation come in for integrators, is creating tools that might plug into what they're doing as far as an overall project and leverage these into that environment. One that popped into my head is I'm working with a customer recently, and they have a Slack-like solution. We created a bot that you do like @ Spanish, and you type in English, and it sends it in Spanish, right? So that's something that someone outside the company developed the API that they're now using, they integrated into it. And, you know, so it's different things that you might get creative people outside of your organization leveraging your platform, leveraging their platform in the development to create cool stuff that then becomes part, like the iPhone apps, right? All those apps are created by people outside that make the iPhone valuable. I think the same thing will apply to this infrastructure on the UC cloud service that have a platform and a development kit with it. Yeah. Something to say something? Oh, okay.
I was going to say kind of something funny. One of our partners did an integration where you send a message in Spark, it pours a cup of coffee out of the coffee machine. We thought that was pretty funny.
Any other questions in the audience? Okay, I have one more question, then we'll kind of wrap up here. With a number of players coming into the space from a service provider perspective, are we seeing the same thing we kind of saw with video, race to zero, or do you think that the price is stabilizing at a point where people can still make money and charge for UC collaboration services?
So I guess our perspective is that we're not seeing any price erosion. Bigger deals, you know, the partners would competing or perhaps go and be more aggressive. But for the most part, our view of the world would say that the value that we're delivering from a meeting conference service perspective is very aggressive today. And as we deploy different licensing models, you know, the user community has the ability to maximize the use of these licenses or deploy them enterprise-wide and focus on usage and adoption. So the price model is, it'll continue to drive down, of course, over time, but we're feeling that it's a great value prop today versus the alternatives.
Michael, you see any?
I mean, I think scale naturally drives costs down, right? And when cost comes down, the price comes down. But the scale we're talking about, you know, for example, in the endpoint business, for the most part, it's grown a little bit in terms of value, in terms of revenue. It's grown a tremendous amount in terms of endpoints. So delivering more value through volume is actually, again, I think it's part of the business that we're in. You know, at some level, if no one's making money, there will be service. So there has to be some profit involved in this. But in the companies that are the most efficient and build the best solution that's easiest to use and has reliability, and the top three things on there are things people will pay for, right? Performance, reliability, ease of use. Those are, if they're not there, if you don't get any of those, you pay nothing. And you get all three of those, and you pay a few dollars a month. You probably pay a few dollars a month because those things are important. So, yeah, I do think prices will come down. I think costs will continue to come down, and I think the scale of things will continue to drive the overall revenue in the space up.
I think there also is making sure that if I was coaching an end user perspective on this, is to make sure you understand your requirements, what you're looking for, and understand the pricing of the alternatives, because it's not always the price that you might see on the web, because does that service charge for audio participants, or is that included in the price? Do they charge for gateway services for endpoints to come into the service, or is that in the price? Is it an all-you-can-eat model? Are there overage charges? You just need to make sure you read the fine print on what you're buying. And I think, Mike, you had some great caveats that the community should be making sure they're asking before they get into the commitments.
I agree with what both of you guys said. There's always going to be price erosion, but I think a lot of vendors, including us and everyone else, are trying to bring more value into the service. And yeah, it has to be, the users have to love it, and if there's no money in it, then it's not going to be a business. So, but everyone's trying to bring more value into the service, and it's not really about how low you can go in the price. It's how many of those top important things that you can fulfill with the service.
I'm actually trying to get no. And the truth, I mean, it is about quality. It is about high quality and support, and yes, you have to have that, and we feel that we do. But clearly, definitely on the audio side, I'm getting there. I want to take it there because We have a unique ability to make money on a free conference call, a high-quality, mission-critical free conference call. So I think we're going to be, I'm hoping we're going to be partly responsible for taking at least the audio piece down there. The other stuff is different, and you know, and that stuff. But I do think, yes, I do think the prices are coming down. You hear it from customers all the time, and they want that, and they're demanding that, and I think it's definitely happening.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Bob. It's you know, the best product at the best price. That's the one that's going to win. It's about the reliability and the features and the ease of use that you can provide, but it's also, in the end, it's the best product at the best price.
Well, thank you, everybody. We're out of time. Please, if you're not a member of IMCCA, go visit the booth as an end user and sign up. It's free. Do so. Talk to them. And I'm sure if you have any questions last minute, you can come up and talk to these guys. But, panel, thank you very much.